Okay, let's look at the equipment for this experiment. So we want to try and see how does the volume of a liquid affect its mass. So we need to measure those two things. Now to measure mass, we use this, which is an electronic balance, okay? And what we do with it is we turn it on with nothing on it. Well, there's two ways of doing this. We're going to show you the first way first. And it reads 0, okay? And my next step then is I place my measuring cylinder on it to measure the mass, and I get that it's 176 grams. Okay, hopefully you can see that there. Now, the next thing I have to do is then I'm going to measure 100 centimeters cubed. Now, centimeters cubed and millimeters cubed are just the same thing. Now, to do that, what I do is I use a measuring cylinder. Yes, a beaker has markings on it, but they're not accurate enough to actually measure volume of a liquid with any degree of certainty. So what I do is I get eye level with the marking I'm trying to get the water level up to. I pour it in slowly. And I get eye level, because if I look from above or below, I'm going to get the reading wrong. And I read from the bottom of the meniscus. Now, what we mean by that is there's a certain viscosity to water. So when the water is in the cylinder, the water level isn't straight across it like that. At the edges, there's a little lip. Okay, and we call that the meniscus. But it's a very thin lip. So if I want to read the water level, I read from the bottom of that. Okay, because that's where the majority of the water is level with. So I always get eye level with the bottom of the meniscus to measure the volume. So I now know I have 100 centimeters cubed of water in that, and what I then do is I place the measuring cylinder back on the electronic balance, like so, and it reads 272 grams. So my measuring cylinder plus 100 centimeters cubed of water is that. Okay, so I know it was 272 grams in total, but 176 of that is still the measuring cylinder. So to get the mass of the water, I have to subtract the 176, and it gives me that it is 96 grams. Okay, so the mass of the water is 96 grams. And all I do is, my independent variable is really the volume. I'm going to now do the same thing for 200, 300, 400, 500, 600 centimeters cubed of water and get the mass of the water at each of those volumes. There is another way of doing this experiment, which is at the very, very beginning, rather than measuring the mass of the measuring cylinder, what I do is I place the measuring cylinder on the electronic balance and I re-zero it, sometimes called tear or tar. So I press the 0 button, and now that reads 0 whenever the mass of the cylinder is on top of it. So now if I put my 100 centimeters cubed of water into my measuring cylinder, read from the bottom of the meniscus, that will just read the amount of water because it was 0 whenever the measuring cylinder was on top of it. That's probably the easier way of doing this experiment, but either of those methods written in an exam would get full marks. Okay, so what I'll do now is I'll continue, there's no point in me filming me continuing the rest of this, but I'll do the rest of this experiment, post the results into OneNote, and then I'll post a little video telling you what I want you to do with those results. Okay.